California, a land of sunshine, beaches, and Hollywood glamour. But beneath this idyllic surface lies the San Andreas Fault. This massive crack stretches for hundreds of miles, a reminder of nature's raw power. It shapes the landscape and lives of Californians. But it also poses a significant threat, capable of devastating earthquakes. The fault, visible from the air, is a stark reminder of the forces beneath our feet. The ground is in constant motion, albeit imperceptibly slow. This slow movement builds tremendous pressure. When that pressure releases, the consequences can be catastrophic. Understanding the San Andreas Fault is crucial for safety. By learning about its behavior, we can better prepare and mitigate risks. This knowledge helps us make informed decisions for our safety. The San Andreas Fault is not just any crack in the earth, it's a transform fault, a boundary between two massive tectonic plates that make up the Earth's outer layer. These plates, the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate, are in constant motion, grinding past each other horizontally. Imagine two giant slabs of rock, constantly pushing and shoving against each other. That's the San Andreas Fault in a nutshell. The Pacific Plate, on which much of the Pacific Ocean rests, is moving northwestward relative to the North American Plate, which holds most of the North American continent. This movement, though slow and measured in mere inches per year, is what causes the buildup of stress along the fault line. This stress is like a tightly wound spring, and when it finally releases, it does so with tremendous force, resulting in an earthquake. The San Andreas Fault is the most famous and well-studied transform fault in the world. It serves as a natural laboratory for geologists and seismologists, providing invaluable insights into the dynamics of plate tectonics and the mechanisms of earthquakes. By studying the San Andreas Fault, scientists can better understand earthquake hazards not only in California but also in other seismically active regions around the world. The San Andreas Fault, as we know it today, is a relatively recent geological formation, at least in geological terms. Its story begins around 30 million years ago, when the Earth's tectonic plates were in a different configuration. Back then, a massive oceanic plate called the Farallon Plate was being subducted or forced beneath the North American Plate. As the Farallon Plate continued to sink beneath the North American Plate, it created a zone of intense pressure and friction. This pressure and friction eventually caused the edge of the North American Plate to begin to tear and slide horizontally, forming the San Andreas Fault. Over millions of years, the Farallon Plate was almost entirely consumed, with only small remnants remaining today, such as the Juan de Fuca Plate off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. The San Andreas Fault, therefore, is a testament to the immense power of plate tectonics, a force that has shaped and reshaped our planet for billions of years. It's a reminder that the Earth is a dynamic and ever-changing system, and that even seemingly permanent features like continents and oceans are in constant motion over geological timescales. Section 4. Unveiling the Fault. For centuries, the indigenous peoples of California have understood that their land is prone to shaking. They incorporated this knowledge into their oral traditions and way of life. However, it wasn't until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that the scientific community began to unravel the mysteries of the San Andreas Fault. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake, a magnitude 7.9 temblor that devastated the city, marked a turning point in our understanding of the fault. The earthquake and the subsequent firestorm that swept through San Francisco brought the devastating power of the San Andreas Fault into sharp focus. The scientific community, galvanized by this catastrophic event, began to study the fault in earnest. Geologists, led by Andrew Lawson of the University of California, Berkeley, meticulously mapped the fault line, tracing its path for hundreds of miles. They studied the offset of fences, roads, and even rows of trees, all stark evidence of the ground's movement during the earthquake. Their groundbreaking work laid the foundation for our modern understanding of the San Andreas Fault and its role in shaping California's geology. Section 5. The big one, a looming threat. The San Andreas Fault is not just a geological curiosity, it's a constant threat, a sword of Damocles hanging over California. Seismologists warn of the inevitability of the big one, a massive earthquake of magnitude 7.8 or greater along the fault line. This earthquake, they predict, could have catastrophic consequences, far exceeding the damage inflicted by the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. The potential damage from the big one is staggering. Buildings could crumble, bridges could collapse, and highways could buckle. Fires could erupt, fueled by ruptured gas lines and exacerbated by a crippled infrastructure. Coastal areas could be inundated by tsunamis, giant waves generated by the earthquake's seismic energy. The economic impact would be devastating, with businesses shuttered, homes destroyed, and critical infrastructure crippled. The human cost is perhaps the most difficult to comprehend. Thousands of people could be injured or killed, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak and loss. The psychological toll of such a disaster, both on individuals and on communities, would be immeasurable. Section 6. Preparing for the inevitable. Living with the threat of a major earthquake may seem daunting, but it's not a hopeless situation. While we cannot prevent earthquakes, we can take steps to mitigate their impact and prepare for the inevitable. Preparedness is key to minimizing damage and saving lives when the big one strikes. One of the most important steps is to have a plan. Families and businesses should develop and practice earthquake emergency plans, including evacuation routes, communication strategies, and designated meeting places. Securing heavy objects, reinforcing shelves, and installing earthquake-resistant features in homes and buildings can go a long way in reducing damage and preventing injuries. Communities can also take steps to enhance their resilience. Retrofitting older buildings, strengthening bridges and overpasses, and improving emergency response systems are all crucial steps in mitigating the potential damage of a major earthquake. Investing in early warning systems, which can provide seconds or even minutes of advance notice before the ground starts shaking, can save lives and reduce injuries. Section 7. Living with the fault. The San Andreas Fault is an integral part of California's landscape and its history. It is a constant reminder of the powerful forces that shape our planet and the need for preparedness in the face of natural disasters. Living with the fault doesn't mean living in fear. It means understanding the risks and taking responsible steps to mitigate them. It means building stronger, safer communities prepared to withstand the inevitable tremors. It means respecting the power of nature while recognizing our own ability to adapt and persevere. The San Andreas Fault is a story that is still being written. It is a story of geological forces, scientific discovery, and human resilience. It is a story that reminds us that even in the face of immense challenges, we have the power to prepare, to adapt, and to overcome. By understanding the San Andreas Fault and embracing a culture of preparedness, we can build a safer and more resilient future for ourselves and for generations to come.